In the previous part, we looked at the very basics of creating our quest in the journal and sending update messages and marking quest requirements as completed. In this part, we're going to refine this quest that we've made and make sure that it's a little bit more foolproof and less liable to go wrong. As it is currently, our first objective is to go to the place. Our second objective is to do the thing, that is, kill the null poacher. However, if the player wanted to, we could just walk around this region, kill the poacher first. Now let's look at what will happen if we do that. So our quest is initialized, and we have our 2 requirements listed, and then we go and do the thing. It's going to run this trigger. This is going to mark the second requirement as completed. It's going to display a message where the text indicates that both requirements are completed, even though this one is not. And it's going to mark the entire quest as completed. So there are a couple of ways that we can work around this. Simplest way would be to use some kind of physical barrier to prevent the player from doing these events out of sequence. So if we look at our pathing view now, you can see the paladin would just about be able to squeeze through there, but he can't go around. So by necessity, this objective must be completed first. And if that's the case in your map, where your quests necessarily must be completed, can only be completed in a certain order, then that's fine, and you can do it exactly like this, and it'll work. However, let's look at how to make it possible for these objectives to be completed in either order. So we can do the region first and then kill the unit, or we can kill the unit first and enter the region later. So if we open up our do the thing trigger, you can see we're going to need to check whether this objective has been completed first or not. So let's go ahead and insert a new function here. We're going to use if then else multiple functions. Basically, this will just add a little check of this condition. So it'll say, before we continue, if this condition is true, then we're going to do this. If this condition is false, then we're going to do something different. And then it'll proceed with anything that you've got listed afterwards. So as it stands, what we've created here assumes that this objective has already been completed. So we're going to cut all of these, and we're going to put them in the then actions, and we're going to add that condition that we were assuming previously. So new condition, Boolean comparison, this is going to be a true or false. Either this objective has been completed or it has not. So our function will be quest requirement is completed. And we're going to select requirement 1. So now instead of just assuming that quest requirement 1 was previously completed, we're now actually going to check. So if it was already completed, then we're going to say quest completed, both objectives are done. If it was not completed, and we're completing the second one, then we're going to have to display a slightly different message, which just indicates that the second objective was completed, but not the first one. So I'm going to go to the place trigger and copy this message and just modify it. So we're going to put this in the else actions. We also want this to mark requirement 2 as completed, because no matter what, we're completing it. And we can actually be a little more efficient than that. We can just put this outside of the if then else check. And we're going to delete it from this one. So we are always marking main requirement 2 as completed, and then we just have to check which kind of message we're going to send. So if main requirement 1 is not completed, our quest update message is, well, first of all, it's going to be a quest update message rather than a quest completed message. And it's going to look just like this, except we want second objective completed instead of the first objective completed. So I'm just going to cut and paste the color code and the completed text. There we go. So first objective is not yet completed, second objective is completed. That looks right to me. Now we're going to do basically the same for this one, because as it stands now, if we were to go and kill the null first, it's going to check, was requirement 1 completed already? No, it wasn't, so it's just going to do a quest update. It's not going to mark the quest as completed. And then we go to the place, and this is just going to do a quest update. It's not going to mark it as completed. And this update message will say that this one is still remaining to be done. So we're going to do basically the same exact thing that we did here, but in this trigger. So I'm just going to copy this entire if-then-else block, and then we can change it up a little bit to suit our needs. So if main requirement 2 has already been completed, then we are going to send a quest completed message and mark the quest as completed. In this case, the quest completed message is going to be the same regardless of what order we do it in, so great. We don't need to change the then actions. We just need to change the else actions. So if we complete the first one and the second one has not been completed, our quest update message should be flipped around, and it should actually just be exactly the same as what we had before. So I'm going to delete this and move in this one that we already had. So let's run through what happens here. When we complete the first requirement, it's going to mark it as completed, and then it's going to check, have we done the other one already? If we have, we complete the quest and we get the message for that. If we have not, then we still already marked this as completed. We just haven't sent the message yet, so we just need to send an update message. Go to the place completed, do the thing still incomplete. That seems correct to me. While we're here, let's also add a trigger for our defeat condition, because we have this condition that says Paladin must survive, but we haven't actually implemented that. It's just listed in the list. You'll be soft locked if the Paladin dies. You won't be able to progress, but it's not going to actually defeat you. So let's create a new trigger. Paladin dies. And our event is going to be just like the null death. It's going to be specific unit dies. We'll select our Paladin from the variable list. So if this Paladin dies, then we are going to wait a short time just to allow the death animation to play a little bit. And then I am simply going to defeat the player. But I will show you that if we go to quest, there is a mark quest as failed, and quest messages do have a type for quest failed. There's also a type for mission failed. But in this case, we're just going to end the mission in defeat immediately. So this is going to be in the game category, and we're going to choose defeat. So defeat player 1 with the message, the Paladin died. So there we go. Now we have this implemented. There is one more thing still not quite right about these triggers, and I'm hoping that maybe some of you have already caught it. These will repeat. We can go to the place and then step out and go back into the place again and again, and it's going to keep doing this check. It's going to keep sending this message every single time that we enter this region. And in theory, if this null were to somehow come back to life after we killed it, and then we kill it again, the same thing would happen. It would repeat that message again and again. So let's make sure that we prevent that. We're going to go to our actions, and we're going to insert a new action right at the top of the list. Go to the trigger category, turn off this trigger. So as soon as we enter the region, it's going to say, we have started this trigger once, never again. We do it one time and one time only. And for good measure, I'm going to copy that and do it in the same, do the same thing in the other trigger. even though technically there's not actually any way this guy's going to come back to life in this scenario. So now our trigger is a little bit more robust, our quest is a little more foolproof, and we can do these objectives in either order. So let's take a look at that in-game.
I am not afraid. As you wish.
There's our quest discovered. So
as you wish.
Let's do it backwards first. So I'm going to get my cheat enabled so we can do that real fast. We're going to kill this guy. And you can see our quest update says the second one has been completed. First one is still remaining. And you can see the second one is checked off. First one is still remaining. Now let's go to the place. And there we go. We have our quest completed message. And you can see it's flagged as completed, as is the second objective. If we restart it and run in the other order,
let me face the pedal.
Let's wait for the quest to discover. There we go.
It shall be done.
We get just a quest update. And then you can see just that one is completed. We kill this guy. And there's our quest completed message. And our objectives marked. So there you go. That's a more robust trigger for the quest, or a more robust set of triggers, rather. In the next part, we're going to look at objective markers. So we're going to look at minimap icons and visibility modifiers for calling attention to objective locations or points of interest.